What's up, people? I am back. We're doing the second Alligator movie. I was supposed to do this last week, but something came up. But Alligator 2 wasn't good. I'm just gonna cut right to the chase. This wasn't a good movie. The problem with this one was that it almost forgets it's an alligator movie because, and it's weird because it does feel it's supposed to be paced like the first one. Like this company's dumping chemicals in the sewer. The alligator that we saw, towards the end of the first movie that was shown grows. And minus the opening where we do see it eat some people, and you do see it kind of, they don't really show the alligator. I wonder if that was they maybe got a smaller budget because it's weird because there are cases where a sequel gets not as big of a budget. But that's what this feels like because they didn't show the alligator that much because it forgets it's an alligator movie. There's like a 30 to 40 minute section where the alligator is mentioned, but it doesn't feel like it doesn't have a presence in the movie. You see it a couple of times. Also, in a weird way, it doesn't it doesn't feel as big. Something about it feels a lot smaller. I don't know. And David Hodges, who's your main character, yeah, it's the same kind of thing. Like this cop who works alone is investigating the killings. You have like a Dr. Carey. This time it's his wife named, I think her name is Sharon. Or Carrie. Sharon or Carrie was one of those. Who she determines it is an alligator, but the town doesn't want to believe it. Vincent Brown, he's like the main rich tycoon in this one. But like, even though it's paced somewhat like the first one, I don't think it takes what made the first one a fun movie at all. This one just feels kind of dull. I don't know. It didn't do it for me. It was whatever about the alligator, even when it came on screen. I mean, basically the same kind of ending. They kill it with like a rocket, and they have to try to stop it. But yeah, that's the movie. It's a 5 out of 10. I'd honestly say just watch the first Alligator as a one-off movie. I was hoping this one was gonna be fun, but it just wasn't. Like, I felt bored. The lead was boring. Danny Hodges, I think that's what his name was, or David Hodges. Sorry, not Danny. David Hodges, and it just didn't do it for me. He was just there. At least the lead in the first one, and even the reptile expert girl were kind of interesting characters. In this, the characters are just kind of boring. Like, there's also the mayor's daughter. She's okay, but she kind of shows up halfway through. But yeah, this movie is very bad. I would just watch the first Alligator as a one-off. I wouldn't recommend this one. This one's just very dull. And even like the kill scenes weren't that great. They were very, I don't know. They felt kind of uninspired, even for this type of movie. Like, I don't know. But anyway, we'll get started here. But let's go. So the film kicks off when we see these two workers like fishing, and then they end up getting killed by the gator, which you kind of see it, like you see its snout a little bit, but yeah, it kills two of them. And then this is where we meet our lead, David Hodges, who basically is the same kind of gimmick. He works alone. He's married to a scientist. She determines, and I think another scientist also determined that the bite marks on the bodies were from a gator. And, initially they don't believe him. His police chief doesn't believe him. But then, pretty much, kind of like the first one, they hunt for it unsuccessfully. And David, you see the town, like this town, like this little small area getting pushed out by these rich tycoon guys. And it seemed like that's what the movie wanted to focus on, is about like these rich tycoon guys picking on the poor guy. It was like, that's not what I was watching. Yeah, the first one does have that a little bit. Oh, sorry. But it was still an alligator hunt movie. Like, minus the name drop alligator a couple times, it feels like it's more about like them trying to stop these rich tycoons. You see, they have like control of the mayor. They even have like, there's a section where they're watching basically like wrestling, like pro wrestling. And I actually think there's probably some pro wrestlers in there, like who are actually wrestling. It's like, my God, like they forget it's an alligator movie. Minus the couple times they hunt it. It fails, so they have to hire like the Vincent hires like a group of hunters. They try to hunt it while Hodges, Harmon, I think, is one of the officers. Like, he's like the younger officer of the movie. And there's like a section where they're just focusing on him. I'm like, what am I watching right now? There's even a like where they're focusing on him, and he's basically, I'm assuming they're setting up like a romance thing with him and the mayor's daughter. The mayor's name is Mary Anderson, and his daughter, I think his daughter's name is like Sherry. Oh man, she was good looking, but it was like, that's not why I'm watching this movie. I'm supposed to be watching a movie about alligators, or a alligator eating people. Like, at least get to the carnage. It really makes me think this one didn't have as big of a budget, because they were like, okay, we need to do something else so we don't have to show the gator, because they showed it every now and then, but they'd only show its eyes, and it's weird because we know what it looks like. We saw in the first one how many times they showed it, like just even walking in the city. They didn't even do that. I think they did, but it didn't look good. But so after trying to confront Vincent, like at the wrestling thing, because and this was after the hunters failed getting the alligator, which I guess that section was kind of cool. We saw the alligator kill some people there, but I don't know. I think if you're gonna just copy the first one, they should have just straight up copied it. They just didn't even do that. This just, like, God, like for like 20 minutes they're doing this, focusing on Harmon and Sherry. It was weird. Such a weird section of the movie. But yeah, so Hodges gets his wife joins, and they have to try to hunt to kill the thing. It starts like kind of like the first one. He causes havoc, kills Vincent, and his people, and Dan. And sorry if I'm rushing this a little bit. It's just such a bland movie. But yeah, David and Harmon managed to kill it with a rocket launcher. Movie ends. I'm sorry if I rushed it a little bit. I like to try to be more detailed, but this movie was very bland. Like, it even kind of ends the same. They kill it with a rocket. Or it was explosives. It's one of the two. It was either, I think it was a rocket, though. But yeah, I think this is a case, maybe it didn't need a sequel. Or if you're gonna, I don't understand why you couldn't even just make a fun creature feature. That's what I was kind of hoping this was gonna be. That it was gonna be maybe more of a fun creature feature, or they're gonna go more into the creature aspect about it. Maybe not be as like a good character movie, but it's a good creature feature, and it wasn't even that. Felt like it was very weak in that department. The gator it didn't feel like a threat. Like, the gator in the first one was. Like, it felt like a legit threat. This one didn't. It just was there. Vincent was I guess he was a bad guy, kind of. He's the rich asshole tycoon dumping. Hodges and his wife are okay. They're okay, I guess, but they're kind of boring. The whole movie was bad. I think they should have just tried to do it like the first one, make it more of a creature feature or something, because this was just boring. That's really all I can say about this movie. Just watch the first Alligator. Even though it does show another alligator falling, it just you look at that as like a cycle continues type thing, but you don't actually do a sequel. I think it could have worked, but what they did was dumb. So I don't know what creature feature next week I'll do. I'll try to find something. There's actually a couple alligator movies. Like there's Prime of Valor, even though it's not alligators, crocodile. There's a Crawl. I don't think that was more. I'm gonna try to. I still want to make it more horror esque, so I don't know if I'll do that one because Crawl to me is more action than horror. There's one called Rogue I was actually shown. I watched last year, really good. So I might do one of those or something. But yeah, Alligator 2 sucked. So tomorrow I will be doing the first Leprechaun. I remember when I first watched that movie, I didn't know what to expect. It wasn't long after I watched the first Chucky. I think it was a little bit after. But I was like, oh wow. And I saw Jennifer Aniston was in it. And I had already I think no, I had watched Friends before. I had watched Friends before. So I recognized her from that. And I think from other movies. But a young Jennifer Aniston is in it. And I thought Warwick Davis does a really good job. And probably, I would say the first one is the best one. But yeah, I'm going to go back and do the first Leprechaun, so can't wait. So yeah, Alligator 2 sucks. Just watch the first one. But that's pretty much all I can say in this review. But I'm going to cheers and peace out. but as usual, I'll talk to y'all tomorrow with the first Leprechaun. Fuck the Biden administration. Peace.